Alright. Goomba Boomba says, Morj, borrow a PS4 from someone and go play Bloodborne. I would love to. Does someone want to ship me their PS4? Does anyone want to do that? Straw Choco, thanks for being a member for 8 months. Luffy and Egg will be an all-time classic Morj vid. I hope people know that I'm not bought into the egg theory. The egg theory is just... it's just a... It was something where I was like, let me see if I can sneak this in. What's my excuse? I don't have a good one. Wait, it's the same one as before, which is I don't have a car. I did also say last time that if I'm going to be more than 20 minutes late, I have to change the time. I realized I can't change the time on my phone, but I could have done it when I got home and right before I showered, so I should have done that. I don't have a good excuse. From this moment on, if I'm going to be more than 15 minutes late, I have to change it no matter what. That's the rule. Guaranteed. That's the rule, guaranteed. Guaranteed for real this time. Snap, thank you for being a Yonko member for 8 months despite me being late. We love to see it. Early Morj like always. Oh, never mind. I guess I was early. You have the Morjcast podcast power. Love from Norway like always. First time I said that. Okay. First time you said that. Love from Norway like always. Yeah, that is the first time you said that. Okay. For those of you who don't know, the Morjcast is basically the podcast that goes out to all patrons of a certain tier and above. And if you want to be a member on the channel, you can get the podcast as well. Depends what you want to be. If you would like to support through Patreon or by being a member. Either way, you get the Morjcast, which is my special, extended, unfiltered, etc. behind the scenes thoughts. So, for example, this week we'll be talking about how the egg theory came to be. The weirdest theory that I've ever put out. And other thoughts on the chapter. Baby Mort says, I'll ship my PS4 if you buy me a PS5. That sounds like a great deal. I might do that. Razvan Antonescu, thank you. Finally, I get to see you live, and you are late. Full experience. Yeah, that you get to experience what everyone else experiences. Thank you. Anyway, that thing in NBA, am I right? Oh, nice try. You're trying to get me off track right away, and it's probably going to work, because I really want to talk about the NBA right now, because the finals just started. Isn't that crazy? The NBA finals just started? We've been talking about this shit for so long, and the finals just started. Let's get the Streamlux to 100. It's almost there. Speaking of 100, holy shit, this dude is back. You've never been... I swear I haven't seen you in chat for the longest time, and all of a sudden, you're coming in, dropping hundreds like you're, I don't know, some rich person. 02657, thank you very, very, very much for the 100. Let's see what you've got to say. I feel vindicated about Crocomom. No one can tell me I'm wrong. Don't know why you feel vindicated about that. Did you see Imu eat the fire with their giant croco-like mouth? Or that drawing you made a couple of weeks ago? I agree. That drawing I made, if you guys want to go back and check the Im's Identity Theories stream, which I think holds up very, very well. I actually drew an illustration of what Im likely looks like using his abilities, and it's pretty much a 1-to-1 match if you want to go check that shit out. Im eating fire with their giant croco-like mouth. So I have a question for you all that's actually a very, very, very important question. A very, very, very important question. It's on the lines of the Crocomom thing, but in a more serious vein. Did Im seem snake-like in appearance? I need the answers to that. Did Im seem snake-like in appearance? Huh? Does he seem serpentine? Patricia Sombrano, thank you for the 5. Im looks so cool, man. So excited to see what her design is going to look like. Aren't we on... Doesn't Im... I feel like Im... Is it a her? I think at this point it's a dude, right? So excited to see what her design is going to look like. And how surprising is it that Sabo is able to escape? How surprising... Well, we already knew that Sabo was able to escape. Because we've... This is a flashback. And we currently see him talking to the Revolutionary Army leaders. So it is actually not a... I don't know what world you're living in, man, but it's not a surprise at all to me that Sabo escaped. Unless you think that this is all happening in the current day, and we're in some sort of weird flash-forward universe. Snap, thank you. Did you like my message? No car this time. What? Everyone's saying no. No, 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 no. Not to me, not really, not serpentine. More like a lizard. People are saying lizard. No, I don't mean like. Okay, I obviously I know he has arms. I know he has arms, but I'm saying like, uh, sure, lizard-like, snake-like. Like, you guys get what I'm saying? Like, does he seem serpent? Let's use the word lizard then. Do you guys think lizard? Titanium Dragon, thank you for the 2. Imu is based on Yim in mythology. Google it, please. I will Google it. Yim. Wow, you know what comes up when I Google Yim? Yahoo Mail. Thanks a lot for the suggestion. Last time I listened to Titanium Dragon. JDG, thanks for the 5. No, reptile possibly, salamander still no. Okay, I'm gonna put a pin in the snake-like serpentine type thing. Parvision's here saying par stocks are up. I don't even know what theory he's referring to here. What's up? What par stocks are up? Why are par stocks up? Luke Cotton, thank you for the 5. Since Imu could not send Sabo, who is literally in the same room as them, Imu must not have observation haki. No, because characters generally don't just have observation haki on. This is a common misconception that's been debunked many a time. There are very few characters, like sometimes characters have their observation haki on, sometimes they don't, but usually it's some are going to be using it at points, some aren't. Usually you find out after the fact whether or not someone was using observation haki, but lots of times characters just don't have their observation haki on. Isho, thank you for the 2. Those im panels plus dialogue sorry, we're menacing as fuck. Yeah, I think that my favorite panel from this chapter was definitely the one with Sabo running and the 5 Gorosei shadows and just Im's eyes in the background. That was a very dynamic panel. Very memorable panel that came out from this chapter. In general, I'm liking the way Oda's treating Im so far, just because I guess we have to call him Imu now. Him/her, they. I like the way that Imu has been handled so far, because I was expecting a face reveal this chapter. We're not getting a face reveal this chapter. Oda's actually holding on to it even a little further, which I think is really, really exciting, because this is by far the most... We've seen Imu at several points at this time. Several times at this point, right? And the fact that Oda still feels like it can be dragged out, the presence, right? The atmosphere can be dragged out, the mystery can be dragged out further and further. I think that's really, really a sign of an author that knows what he's got on his hands, which is one of the most exciting final villains you'll ever see, probably for a story of this size, for sure. Caleb Brown, thanks for the 2. My man Sabo went 1v6 with Imu and walked out fine. I'm seeing lots of discussion about Sabo. Some people making fun of him. Some people, like you, I suppose, saying it's gassing him up. I don't think it says anything either way about Sabo. I don't think this was a good showing or a bad showing. It's what had to happen, right? Sabo sees Im, Cobra dies, Sabo escapes. It's just the stuff that had to happen. Real quick, let's take an actual look at that YM thing that guy was that Titanium Dragon was talking about. I literally don't see anything but YM. I'm still seeing YMCA. I'm seeing YM, a YouTube channel. I'm seeing YM, a unit of length or distance. It's a yoctometer. What the hell are you talking about, man? Let me look up YM mythology. Hurrying Lyrics 44, thanks for being a member for 4 months. The world government and revolutionary army sucks. What? They both suck? How do they both suck? You've got to be on one of their... You've got to be supporting one of them, right? I'm seeing YM as in Yam, a god. Dude, I don't see any YM shit. I don't know what you're talking about. Wait? Yam, a god of the sea? Wait a second. A god representing the sea? It's just too niche. This is from like a very niche religion, it looks like. No, maybe it's not that niche. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. I'll look at this later. Thanks for putting me onto it. Alright, let me catch up real quick. And everybody, let's get the stream likes to 200. 200 real quick. Okay. Oh, Titanium Dragon clarified. YM was a villain to the hero Baal. YM Baal. Yeah, that's the... Okay, so it's spelled Yam. If you guys want to look it up, it's Yam. I'm not joking. It's actually... It's spelled Yam. But... I don't know. I guess it's close to YM. Fatingo, thanks for bringing Yonko to your member for 8 months. The fact that the biggest point of discussion of this chapter is Sabo's showing is kind of frustrating. The lore stuff is so unbelievably more interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of... I don't even know what to say about the Sabo power scaling here, because it's like... We're power scaling him against just a giant question mark. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, it's... Nobody knows how strong the Gorosei are. Nobody knows how strong Im is. We can assume Im is the strongest character, right? But it's just like, there's no... What do we even... There's nothing to even compare him to here. We have no idea. Like, this isn't a good or bad thing. It's just, you know, he got out of there. Let's see. JDG, thanks for the 5. No message attached. Luke Cotton, thank you for the 5. No, we covered this. Isho, thanks for the 2. Those Imu panels. No, we covered this. We covered this. We're almost back to where we're supposed to be. Snab says, remember I want a car in Morjcast. You have no car, so I know CarCast. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I used to record the Morjcasts in a car. The moment there is no car to record those in. And most people, I think, did not like the car. So we're not doing the car again. JDG, thanks for the 5. What if the previous Sun God made Long Ring Longland, which is why pretty much only Luffy likes that island? I've seen these type of theories a lot, which is that some of the islands of the Grand Line are a result of what do you call? Awakened fruits. So like Enies Lobby being a product of the awakened light fruit, things like that. I don't know how much I buy into that. And I don't know if Luffy's fruit in particular could have a permanent effect on an island. But it's a funny idea. It would be a very random island to have been the one that the Nika fruit influenced, you know? Very unimportant in the grand scheme of things. G4162, thanks for the 5. Did this change your mind about the 5 Goroseis being commander tier? They looked very fear-inducing, very different. I never said that I don't think that they can be commander tier. My take was that I don't think that they're admiral level. I don't think that they're 5 admiral level characters just right there. But Oda did hype them up quite a bit this chapter. They looked very, very intimidating this chapter. If they are Im's, primary subordinates, then, yeah, they're gonna be... It's crazy to think that all 5 of them would be stronger than admirals. It's just a lot to jump to, I suppose. But you know, it's possible. Fidel Cashflow, welcome to the Yonko. Thanks for joining. Congratulations, you get access to the Morjcast. So watch out for this Friday. Ooh, thanks for the 5. Im greater than Kaguya. Yeah, I mean, like, that's a very low bar. We don't need to dance on Naruto's grave. That's not what this stream is about. Stormfox, thanks for the 2. If Imu looks just like... What if Im just looks like that and it isn't a silhouette? That would be fucking hilarious. If we're all waiting for Im's face reveal and we've just had it all along. You know what's funny is that there's an overhead shot this chapter of Im sitting in the chair. And Im does literally look like a shadow. Im looks very flat sitting on that chair. So for a moment I was like, is Im actually just a... Is this possible? Is Im just a shadow? That'd be funny. Let me see. Mr. MMF2, thanks. Do you think the silhouette that Shaka saw on the cameras is Saturn? Now I'm thinking it's more likely it's Saturn. Also, why is there a random hole in the wall of the most important room, LMAO? A random hole in the wall of the most important room, LMAO. Oh, I feel like Wapol might have made that hole himself, just to spy. Otherwise, that'd be kind of... That's a great point. Why is there just a hole? 02657, you're insane. Thank you for the 50. Thank you very, very much. Let's see what you've got to say. Imu's body slash form. This is not about Crocomom, so this is a real discussion. First, I think first real point of discussion you've raised. Imu's body slash form seems intangible and fluid, like being able to take on many shapes and forms. I wonder if this will negatively impact Luffy's Toon Force. Also Crocomom. Okay, never mind. You pulled it. You brought it back around by the end. I'm trying to so what I've been trying to think of is like, what's an ability that just makes sense for this, you know? You're saying takes on many shapes and forms, so it can be a very interesting battle or counterpart against Luffy's own flexibility with his ability. I'm kind of at the point where I'm just like, I'm assuming that it's a Zoan at this point, right? And I've got two in mind that I think fit, but at the same time, I don't think that there's anything that's just like a easy sort of, oh, duh, this is like this thing, right? But I've got two that I think fit, so that's Tuesday's video, right? There was a snake angle that I was trying to push in my head that made a lot of sense, but at the end of the day, I guess he doesn't look that snake-like. I've seen some people say, okay, it looks a little lizard-like, reptilian, but it's I think a snake might be a little too far. Well, I'll think on it because the current snake fruits that we have, they have arms too, you know, Boa Hancock's sisters, Marigold, Sandersonia. I'll think on it. But I have two other options besides that. Okay, so I wonder if this will negatively impact Luffy's Toon Force, also Crocomom. See, the thing is that I'm kind of assuming that Luffy's Toon Force will be a good counter to whatever Im's ability is. So either it makes for an interesting fight, or Im has an ability that nobody else can deal with, but Luffy's Toon Force can kind of deal with it well. But you're right that him being able to shapeshift and change forms a lot, it feels like it could make for a very interesting fight for Luffy's current abilities. Let's get the stream likes to 300 real quick. Let's get it to 300. What towel for sale? Thanks for the 220. Bro, can you shout me out? I can't think of a question. Sure. Shoutouts to Wet Towel for sale. Good Life, thanks for the 5. Look up the Egyptian god Medjed. It looks like Im... God damn it, I'm having to learn about all these other mythologies. It looks like Im and has an interesting description of abilities on the wiki page. Japan pop culture mentions it too. Medjed. Okay. This can't be fucking... Alright, I gotta show you guys this. This can't be real. If this is what Im is, this is the funniest shit in the world. Alright, take a look. Take a look. Alright, you guys ready? This is Medjed. This thing. How do we feel about this? Im's literally one of those, like, he's like one of those things from Pac-Man, but with feet, you know? I don't know if that's it. I'm not gonna actually read I'm not gonna read it. I don't believe that this is it. Manny Corral says, just how many W's can Fujitora take? This is one of the things that I've been talking about anytime I see like lots of people trying to lay out the final war matchups, and people are like, okay, so Sanji will fight Kizaru, Zoro will fight Fujitora and stuff. I'm like, why would it would just make no sense for Fujitora to be, for anyone on the good guy's side to be fighting Fujitora in the final battle. Like, you think Fujitora is going to be fighting on the side of like slavery and oppression and genocide and shit? Like, that's the complete opposite of everything that we learned about his character in Dressrosa. You know, that might as well be like saying like Whitebeard would be fighting on the world government side. Like, I think we're at a very clear place where we can understand that just because Fujitora is technically on, you know, the world government side at this point in time, that by no means is where his character would make sense to end up by the conclusion of the story. Like, I think it just doesn't make any sense. And if anything, I think, if we're pushing towards an idea that, let's say Luffy fights Akainu and then Zoro and Sanji need to fight admirals, it makes more sense that there'd be 2 admirals left by the end. So I think Fujitora defecting at some point is a inevitability. Cigar Verk, always good to see you. Thanks for the 5. Imu Devil Fruit seems to be a comic devil with tail as an arrow. Also, as someone pointed out, you said search where the wild things are. These seem to be the 5 elder devil fruits. Where the wild things are, it's a bit of a stretch to me to just be like, Oda base. Like, I saw that going around on Twitter. I just can't believe that Oda would write like is it, I don't know, like he would just base it off where the fucking wild things are. It just seems like a stretch to me. Although I love that book. It's an interesting idea because that would make him basically the kid with the crown that's running around. Where the wild things are, it's also dreamlike and such, and its ideas. I don't know. It's a cool thought, but it's just such a random. Like, was Oda aware the wild things are a fan or something like that growing up? It's just such a random thing to connect the conclusion of his story to, Isis1155, welcome to the Supernova. Thank you for joining. Black Lightning, thanks for the 5. It's because everyone thought he got the wounds from 1v2ing the Admiral, so the agenda died. I don't think anybody thought that. I mean, I get that some people thought that, but well, it was literally said that, I think it was made very, I thought it was made very, very clear that it was 4v2 versus the Admirals. That's literally what Blackbeard says in chapter 925, that it was 4 commanders versus 2 admirals, and then the next time that we hear about it, it's stressed by Akainu or whoever it was that, oh yeah, like this was right after Wano. It's explained that, oh yeah, it was a 4v2. It was a 4v2, and the admirals were heavily holding back. So I really don't know, like, why it would be a surprise when we get to this point to think that, oh, Sabo didn't 1v2 them. Because I think it was painted out from way early back. Yeah, it's 4v2, so I don't know where you get the idea that it could ever be 1v2. And then later on, the next piece of information we get is that, yeah, it was 4v2, plus those guys weren't even trying. And then now we're actually getting to the scene of the crime, and it's like, yeah, those admirals were actually fighting each other while Sabo was fucking around. Not fucking around, but you know what I mean? Like, he was doing other shit. Caleb Brown, thanks for the 5. I think Imu is a shadow creature. Luffy in Gear 5th is all white, and Imu is all black. Also think the Gorosei were created by Imu, given they look the same. The one thing about them being created by Imu, because I did think a little bit about that too, was that the Gorosei being created by Imu, we don't know yet if the reason that they're all being kept as silhouettes is just for dramatic effect. Just dramatic effect to make things look scary right now or whatever. And Oda doesn't want to show off all their full designs, so that's why they all technically look similar at this moment in time. Or if it's literally something like they're all supposed to be shadow creatures. So I don't know at this point in time which of the two it's supposed to be. So, with him being a shadow creature, that again goes to the idea of like, okay, are we just having things being hidden? Like, how much is it that things are being hidden for dramatic effect versus we're supposed to take this as, yeah, Im really does look quite a bit like a shadowy creature. Justin Holland, thanks for the 2. Cobra got a W in death. The truth will get out. Yeah, I think this was one of those things where I wish Oda actually did not tell the reader that Cobra had died. I think it was impossible to avoid because just so much time elapses that, like, how many times could you have a character looking at a newspaper and being like, oh my god, this happened, right? Like, I think Oda had to let it out at some point. Before actually showing us the scene, but I think it would have been really, really cool because Cobra dying, right? Cobra dying is the 4th major, like, fourth, like, real character death that we've had in the story. No, Wano had some. Wano had Ashura Doji and Izzo, right? I almost fucking don't count those because you guys know, right? Yasue. Um, okay, Wano had several deaths. It's just they didn't feel that impactful to me. I think Yasue I liked. I feel like Cobra dying though because of the reader's long-term attachment to that. Like we've known this character for so long. I feel like his death would have been a great one to do without telling the reader beforehand that he dies. Just because it would have added to the shock of the scene. I think like a lot is being I think the scene is shocking overall regardless, right? I'm not trying to say the scene isn't shocking, but I think it would have added even more to the scene if out of the blue Cobra dies, right? And we find out that that's what happened at the reverie. I get that Oda wanted to run with the framing Sabo for killing King Cobra thing, and that's making the news and stuff, but I literally don't get... I don't know, I feel like a similar effect could have been done without telling us that Cobra died. Because I was very prepared for Cobra's death, right? We all knew that it's happening in this scene. I think that it could have been even more powerful if he's going out the way he is, making the sacrifice, giving that final message, and then dying in the process to the final villain of One Piece. And that's the first time that we see the final villain of One Piece, throwing out any sort of abilities or anything like that, and that's what happens. I think that's pretty cool. Jay, thanks for the 10, man. After this chapter, I think Saturn is going to be a big issue. I assume he'd be hit after a speech like the Celestial Dragon, and only Kizaru would be an issue. Now I kind of worry for the crew. Yeah, he's... How strong... Okay, let me throw out a poll for this. How strong do we think... Like, if Saturn is as strong or stronger than Kizaru, that'd be fucking insane. I'm curious. How strong do we think... How strong is the average Gorosei? So not the strongest or whatever, but do you think they're all Admiral? Admiral plus? Admiral? Commander. I could get nitpicky and be like, Yonko first mate, etc., but I'm not going to go that in depth. Marco Street, welcome to the Yonko. Congratulations, you get access to the podcast. It'll come out this Friday. Thank you for the support. Guys, let's get the stream likes up to 300 real quick. Okay. Hold on, let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, people are saying that the average, it looks like... A lot of people think that it's... Damn, this is kind of crazy. So about 40% think that the average is Yonko Commander, but 60% think that the average Gorosei level is Admiral level or stronger. That is crazy. Like, I'm not saying crazy as in, like, you guys are crazy, but it's just, like, the thought of that is kind of insane, That could be a real possibility. Alright, let me catch up on these supers real quick. Yeah, I mean, like, at this point, so much of what we thought we knew around the time of Marineford is out the window of who the strongest characters, most important villains, etc. in the story are. Malik B, thanks for the 5. If you didn't see my message, I was connecting Im's imagery in 1084 to the Roman deity Sabo. Let me see Sabo now. Is it going to be another one of those Among Us with feet things? Okay, no, this is more interesting. Cybele is a Anatolian mother goddess, also worshipped in Greece and the Roman Empire. She was a goddess who once gave birth to the other gods, the humans, the animals, and what? Okay, she was the universal mother. I'm just not getting that sense from the abilities we're seeing from Im so far. It seems more scary, but I don't know. Guess we'll see. Black Lightning, thanks for the 5. It's because everyone thought he got the wounds from... Oh, no, we covered this. Covered this. Okay, the JM Lu, thanks for the 5. Quick idea. Im's ability at some point sends Luffy flying, causing him to have a punch stretch across the world, visible to nearly everyone. That would be really cool. That would be a really, really, really cool idea. I like that quite a bit. That's a really, really fun idea. Ryan Montecalvo, thanks for the 2. Woji Tora solos. Yeah, Fujitora is just such a cool character. Such a cool character, such a great character to have in the story at this point. I've been saying I think Fujitora makes the most sense for Fleet Admiral after all is said and done, just because he's the right type of character to be Fleet Admiral, right? He's exactly the type of person that you would want helming the Marines at the end of this story. If you're a Kobe fan, Kobe can lead the Marines in the future, right? In an epilogue. Right now, Kobe can barely carry around like a 10-pound metal ball and chain. He's not there yet. He's not even the fucking Vice Admiral. Umair Ula, thanks for the 5. What do you think is the 3 biggest themes in One Piece? I say Freedom, Dreams, and Dawn of a New World. I don't think Dawn is a theme. Dawn is an idea, right? Theme is themes are ideas, right? Dawn is an idea within the story. A theme is basically the more philosophical idea that's getting across in the real world. Like, what's the message, right? Dawn isn't a message that applies to the real world. It's something that they're working towards in the story, and the theme that's associated with that is freedom, right? Current stuff has been good, but I'm missing my goat Luffy. We'll get back to Luffy soon, I'm pretty sure. Probably next few chapters, probably. 3 biggest themes. I just go back to chapter 100, which is, I think it covers it pretty tightly. Inherited Will. It's basically, what does Dragon say? Let me see if I can remember off the top of my head. He's basically saying something like, or not Dragon, it's Roger's quote. A man's dream, the flow of time, inherited will. As long as those things continue to be, as long as man continues to search for freedom, those things will keep going or whatever, right? So those are 4 ideas, right? Inherited will, dream, flow of time, freedom. I'm gonna cross flow of time off of there just because it's I think that's tied to inherited will. I don't think, like, flow of time obviously matters as an idea in One Piece, but I wouldn't say it's like one of the primary themes. I think it's just inherent to other themes. So I would say in One Piece the 3 biggest themes are freedom, dreams, and inherited will. I would argue inherited will and will in general are tied together because your own strength of will, your own ambition, all of that stuff is also equally important in terms of pursuing your dreams, right? Becoming Pirate King, becoming world's strongest swordsman, all of that stuff. So let me shorten it one more time. Dreams, freedom, will, those are the 3 things. And then you get subsets of that, such as inherited will, flow of time, stuff like that. Hoops, thanks for the 5. It could be the nightmare fruit. All the shadow creatures remind me of a child's nightmare. Interesting. It also goes along with the dreams theme One Piece has. Yeah, I think I've seen a little bit about the nightmare fruit. Sorry, I'm just trying to think. Wait a second. Sorry. Let me just write. You know, you're a smart guy, Hoops. Let me write down some shit. Because that is actually... You got me thinking about some stuff. Hold on. Sorry, this is important. If this ends up going into the next video, I will definitely reference you. Let me think if there's anything else I got on this. Okay, I like this. You got me thinking about some stuff. See, I have a script that exists already, but more can always be added to it. I like that idea. Cigar Verk, thanks for the 10. I saw somebody saying like nightmare, like I saw a billion things being thrown out on Twitter and nothing really stuck. But you phrasing it again here did make me think about it, and now I got some stuff, I think. Cigar Verk, thanks for the 10. Oda doesn't need to make Imu's story on where the wild things are, but the 5 Elders Devil Fruit can be inspired from it. Yeah, that's true, they can be inspired from it. I'm just saying that it's like a really random inspiration. I mean, they look like all the 5 monsters in that story. That's true, but I saw something else saying that like they also several of them look like the demon guards from Impel Down. So it's possible that there's so many designs and so many designs in One Piece, different works of fiction, etc. that maybe you can draw some comparisons across random things. Imu can be a conventional devil, and I think your comment got cut off. Yeah, and Im can be a conventional devil. Yeah, I think it's an interesting idea. I have no idea what the how do I say this? The actual individual fruits for each of those things would be in that case, because it's like where the wild things are monsters are not, actual mythological creatures, but it's something to think about for sure. My leak B, thanks for the 10, man. Lol, I'm gonna say this again because I want to see what you say. Imu's imagery at the end of 1084 mirrors Cybele. Look it up. Didn't I look it up? I did look it up. The twin line piece on Imu's throne is the key. Okay, I'll look at it again. And I'll screen share this time. So you guys can see what I'm looking at. Alright. Here. Alright, so this is Cybele. I see the twin lines imagery. That's interesting, but I'm like, how important is Cybele? Is she like a famous goddess? She seems pretty famous. She's got a big Wikipedia page. Anatolian mother goddess. It's just, I would need to look up more about this to really understand what her abilities are. It's just like, is she a significant enough goddess that the assimilated aspects of the earth goddess Gaia, I never know how to pronounce her. What if it's Gaia, by the way? Could be her too, right? See, this goddess everyone knows. I don't know what to make of it, man. Maybe it is. The 2 line things is an interesting point, but I also wonder if like 2 lines are also just I think lines in general are used symbolically to show power. I don't think that's the first and only lion throne inspiration that you would find. Ali Clown, thanks for the 5. Yo, what are your thoughts on Succession? I haven't watched it. If you haven't watched it, I think you'd dig it. Dude, okay, you say build, score, characters, humor, story, ending are all aces. The problem is that like there's so many shows now. There's so many shows. What happens in Succession? What's it about again? Let's take a look. Dark comedy drama television series. I've heard really good things about it. I just don't know what it's about. It's about some stuff. Ali Clown, thanks for the... No, we covered this. Joshua Ayala, thank you. So the sword that is absent in front of the throne is Imu's sword and not Lily's. Wait, you're probably right. Because Lily probably had to put her sword there before she left. I don't know if she could get out of there that easily, right? Oh, guys, let's get the stream likes up to 400. Spade phrased it funny. Fujitora really sucks at his job. That is true. Fujitora is a bad employee, but a really good person. My leak B says it's not the powers that connect, it's the imagery. I get that it's the imagery, but I don't know if the imagery is that strong that I would say that that's a shoe-in for being Imu's inspiration, you know? But maybe I'm wrong. Jay, thanks for the 5. It does sound wild that the 5 Gorosei could be above admirals, but by the time we get past Blackbeard, Shanks, admirals to fight them, they'd have to be like that. No. The only tricky thing is that that would be true if we're only tracking Luffy's growth, but it's like there's a lot of other characters involved, right? So I mean, Zoro and Sanji, by that point, we probably want them to be at least admiral level, so it makes sense. I assume Dragon gets some fight. You know, yeah, Dragon gets some fight. But then it's also like, well, then what are God's Knights for? The world government's just got so many things on its side, right? So it's got all of the admirals. It's got Akainu and the admirals. It's got all of that. It's got the Seraphim. Maybe the Seraphim, this is the end of the line for them. We don't know. But maybe they never reach their full potential. But even besides that, then they've got CP0, and they've got the Gorosei, and they've got the God's Knights. It's just a lot. So it's like, who are all these matchups for? And they can't all be Admiral level plus, right? Some of them have got to be not that strong. Zex545, thanks for the 2. Besides One Piece, what are your biggest hot takes in manga? The problem is if I say anything like right now, it's going to spawn off a whole bunch of discussion. My biggest hot takes in manga right now. I don't think I've got like some super hot hot takes are like what, like I could say like, oh, I think Naruto's ending's bad. I think Bleach's second most of Bleach is bad. Like I could say stuff like that. If we want to say something like controversial, I could say, but I don't even know if it's that controversial. I think Vinland Saga really went downhill after chapter 100. I think Berserk really went downhill after the Conviction arc. And I think that its artistry really carries Falcon of the Millennium Empire rather than its writing. I think... Yeah, I don't really know what... I don't want to say anything too controversial because then I'm just going to have to start talking about that because people will start messaging about that, you know? Daniel Allen, thanks for the 2. Just got back from Spider-Verse, best film ever. Oh, yeah? I'm excited to watch that at some point. Oh, wait, I missed a couple. JWP, thanks for the 5. Really think Blackbeard will play a role with Im and Luffy? Im, Nightmare, Luffy dreams, Blackbeard not dreaming, Will of D, Dawn dreams, Blackbeard, Moon, imagery, Im, shadow stuff. Wow, you fit in a lot of, like, single words right there. But I got the gist of it. I got the general idea. I got that stream of consciousness. Those are some good parallels. Hold on. Alright, JWP, so you're bringing up Blackbeard not dreaming, Luffy dreams, Im nightmare. That's a really good trifecta you just pointed out. If that makes it to the next video, I will give you credit as well. 02657, holy shit, thank you again for the 50. Thank you again very much. The release of the Poneglyphs was called the worst possible outcome by Imu. Why is that? Being released means they were created for a purpose. Did the 20 families want to keep an internal archive of their history? Or something created by the rebels? So I would assume that the rebels created it, right? I would assume that the rebels created it. And it is said that the Poneglyphs are indestructible as far as we know. So I would assume that the... Oh, no, not the rebels. Not the rebels, the Ancient Kingdom, right? Because at the time they weren't rebels, they were ancient. They were just the Ancient Kingdom. I would assume that they created it. They probably created it, and then, I assume once the Ancient Kingdom was defeated, the newly founded world government took in all of the Poneglyphs, right? They can't destroy them, otherwise they would have, so they just took them in and held on to them. And then it sounds like Lily was the one that dispersed them to the world, right? Lily probably dispersed them to the world. Wait a sec, I just had another idea. Wait a second. I had a really cool idea just now that connected something in my head. You guys will definitely see this in a separate video. Yeah, so I would assume that basically Ancient Kingdom, they're going down. They create the Poneglyphs so that their history can be passed down. World government is like, no, we don't want you to spread around this history. We'll take all these Poneglyphs, keep them in safekeeping so no one will find out. Lily says, well, I'm secretly a D and you guys didn't know. I will take the Poneglyphs and I will spread them around the world. And, you know, that's how we get to where we're at right now. Daniel Allen, thanks for the 2. Just got back from Spider. Okay, no, we covered you. 02657, thanks for the 20. I was called out for not mentioning Crocomom in my last message by chat. Sad face. I'm sorry that they bullied you into donating another 20 to talk about Crocomom. I'm just kidding. I'm not sorry. I appreciate it. And you know what? I appreciate you guys in chat that bullied him into messaging again about Crocomom. I do appreciate it. Let's get the stream likes up to 400. Sid P, thanks for the 2. Morj, do you remember One World HD? I know the name, but I never watched that guy. I think a lot of the older... I never watched anime YouTube or One Piece YouTube, period. Like, YouTubers who talked about this stuff, till I started doing it. Like, at all. I just started off with my own little bubble of, like, how I wanted to do videos. And then after a little bit, I started realizing that there's other people that are also doing this. I did know that anime YouTubers existed. I'm saying that, like, I didn't really know much about what's going on in the anime YouTube sphere or who the other One Piece YouTubers were. I did know that anime YouTubers existed because I knew about King of Lightning. He's the only one that I knew about from way back when, because it was something really, really, really totally random. I remember somewhere on some forum or someone said something like, oh, this fairy tale chapter made King of Lightning quit reading fairy tale. And I was like, made King of Lightning, and I looked up who that is. I was like, oh, it's just a YouTuber. That is the only insight I ever had that there was anime YouTubers, and that was like really far back. So when I started my One Piece channel, I had pretty much zero insight into who exists, who's doing what, etc. Or even how big the scene was. Micah Ellis, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for a month. Morj, we are so back. These past chapters, dude, I agree. This stuff has been fucking insane. And what's cool is that when we go back to Egghead, it's going to be insane there too. Because this stuff is just hyping up Egghead even more. Because it's like all of this stuff has been brewing at the Reverie and all that stuff. We kind of know the stakes that are at play in the world right now. So when like 100,000 Marine ships and Kizaru and a Gorosei member are being sent to Reverie, it just feels like that much bigger of a, being sent to Egghead Island, it just feels like that much bigger of a deal that, like, the world is in such a tight spot, and all eyes are centered on Luffy right now, despite that. We're getting God Valley in 30 chapters or so, the Void Century War within 50. I think I agree with God Valley coming up soon. Just because the Void Century is the bigger deal in terms of the 2 flashbacks. So that's probably being saved for later. But it feels like we're at a point where, like, it's time for us to learn about God Valley. Because all of this stuff with Im and everything, that's the bigger question mark at this point. It's like, let's start knocking out some of the smaller potato stuff. And God Valley at this point, it's smaller potato stuff, you know? Like, at this point, like, Roger versus Rocks, that's a huge conflict, obviously, but it's nothing in the grand scheme of things. So I feel like I would agree we're at the point where that sort of thing is going to start being revealed to us. The JM Lou, thanks for the 10. Feels like Oda blueballed us with the idea of an Im design reveal during break. I like that he did, because I like that Oda's really taking his time with this character. I think the more that he draws him out, the greater impact Im will have when Im is finally revealed to us. Hoping we don't have to wait another 150 for Im to show up for the reveal. If you were here for last stream, a lot of viewers voted that One Piece would wrap in about 150 chapters. So I don't think that we're gonna be waiting that long. Feels like this was the best place for it. I think the fact that Oda didn't do it here means that there's an even more exciting place to do it, which I'm definitely looking forward to. Caleb Brown, thanks for the 5. Luffy makes dreams come true. Imu makes nightmares reality. Imu will be a made-up being like Nika in the One Piece world, so Oda can do what he wants. I am leaning towards the idea that like I'm liking the nightmare idea more and more. Um, him being a made up being, I do think is still very. I still think it's very possible. It's just how is it going to be inserted into the story? I think no matter how you spin it, again, don't come at me for this. I like Gear 5. I've said before I like Gear 5. I love Gear 5, blah, 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 blah. I think no matter how you spin it, though, the way that Nika was introduced into the story was somewhat random and abrupt and a pretty short time before the Nika fruit was revealed. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, well, you can go back to Skypiea and they said Sun God here. It's like, yeah, but just because they fucking said... That just shows that, yeah, Oda had it in mind. We're not talking about whether Oda had it in mind or anything like that. I'm saying, how is it introduced to the readers? We're just, like, if you're really looking at the whole scope of One Piece, it's basically like, we go 1,000 chapters, then this character, this saber-toothed tiger is just like, hey, there's this... and nobody fucking asks him about it, really. The saber-toothed tiger's just like, hey, there's this legendary warrior freedom called Nika. Fast forward like 5 minutes later, Luffy's like, my fruit is the Nika fruit, and that's basically what I am. And it's this legendary fruit that's been passed down of this thing that we found out existed, again, literally 5 minutes ago. So I don't think that the introduction of the Nika concept was done that well. I hope that with him it can be something that feels more organic. But at this point, I don't really know how it would be, you know? Marco ST, thanks for the donation. The 5 elders are probably lower admiral level. I don't even know how we're scaling admiral levels at this point. Just saying maybe 1 or 2 might be a Kaino Aokiji level, but I'm guessing at least 1 will fall to Luffy before the main battle, and some will be saved for battles with other Straw Hats. If you think 1 will fall to Luffy, then maybe it's Saturn. Some will be saved for battles with other Straw Hats. I'm not gonna lie, the only Straw Hats I see being like Admiral level by the end game are Zoro and Sanji. Because I've seen some people throw around like, oh, well, Jinbei might be Admiral level. Like, Admiral level's really fucking strong in the One Piece world. Like, it's really, really strong. Like, Admirals can basically destroy islands and shit, you know? Like, they're on a very, very, very... Like, look at Akainu and Aokiji's battle. Like, Fujitora lifted basically all of Dressrosa. You know, like, Green Bull was single-handedly taking on all 9 Scabbards and Yamato. There's a lot of levels to get to Admiral level, you know? Like, you could argue that Jinbei isn't even stronger than all of the, like... I don't know, like, is Jinbei stronger than Inuarashi and Nekomamushi? I don't know. So for Green Bull... who's, in my opinion, the lowest admiral to be taking on all of the Scabbards, right? Like, I just can't imagine Jinbei being, like, Kizaru level or something like that by the end of the game. I feel like only Zoro and Sanji are going to get there. Like, Jinbei right now, the best shit he's got is, like, 10-tile brick fist or whatever. That's kind of what he does. It's like, he's been doing the same fucking move for the last 20 years, right? It's like, slow karate chop, 10-tile bricks punch, right? That's a signature move. And, you know, it'll work when it's like fucking who's who. But I don't think he's taking out an Admiral level character by the end of the story. Bunfagum, thanks for the 3. Who will your favorite Straw Hat fight in... Who will Zoro fight in Egghead? Okay, you've decided that it's Zoro. Who will Zoro fight in Egghead? I would love to see Zoro and Sanji get a skirmish against Kizaru. I would love to see that. I don't know if it's going to happen. That seems too... I want them both to get it just because I feel like it fits for... I don't know, but like I feel like it's more likely that Luffy will fight Kizaru. So I really don't know. Like Zoro and Sanji fighting a Vice Admiral, that'd be lame. If it's just Zoro versus this baby Seraphim, I just don't think it's that interesting. Leo Recto. Hey, good evening, Mr. Morj. Thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 2 months, man. With Imu not being able to catch someone in a 6v1 on home ground, does the image of the strongest in the verse still work? Karasu. Im not... The way you phrased it... Dude, it's just one of those things where it's just like... It's... Like, sometimes Oda's just gotta make shit happen. Like, not a few chapters ago... Blackbeard couldn't fucking catch Beppo. You know what I mean? Swimming away, right? Swimming away. Blackbeard couldn't do a vortex or anything to bring him back. He's got the best sniper in the world on his side, Van Auger, with a teleportation. Like, he couldn't do it. So, it's just the way that sometimes things just have to be written. That's all I gotta say. Marco ST, thank you. Also, Oda should definitely have Blackbeard take down one of the elders too. I think that would be cool. I definitely think that'd be cool. If Blackbeard took down an elder, that'd be really cool. It's probably like fulfills one of Blackbeard's long-held desires as well, which I think is important in the story. Let's get the stream likes up to 400. Let's get the stream likes up to 400. Umair Ula asked, thanks for the 5. Do you think Rox could be a Buggy-like character? I think it's impossible since Kaido wouldn't submit to a weakling like Buggy. Kaido's about power. Yeah, I definitely don't think that Rox is a Buggy-like character. I think that Rox is just too important, and the build-up has been too important for Rox to be a Buggy-like character. I think the fact that Rox was Roger's greatest foe, and the one that seemed to really give Roger his claim to fame, right? Like overthrowing Rox. At least I think in the pirate world, right? The world government tried to cover it up and say it was all Garp. But the thing that kind of set him as like that dude among pirates, I think, was defeating Rox. Anthony Rogers, thanks for the 2. CP0 bumps since bums since Wapple allowed Vivi to escape. Yeah, but if we're saying that, then we gotta say that, Im and the Gorosei are bums because they allowed Sabo to escape, It's all just, it's comedy stuff at the end of the day. I mean, not comedy. It's just One Piece logic. You know what I mean? Not pure comedy, but the Wapple scene was comedy, but the Sabo scene wasn't. But it's One Piece logic to make things fit. Isaac St. Charles, thank you. Why are you named after St. Charles? Charles did dirty thing to Alright, this is just... Okay, so a dude whose account is named after St. Charles just asked... Charlos did dirty things to Boa when she was a slave. Did you make this account just to ask weird, perverted things about St. Charlos? I'm gonna say no, because it's One Piece, and we're gonna just assume that those things are not happening to children in the One Piece verse. Although, if this was a more grimly written series, like a Game of Thrones or some shit, then sure, maybe. Sid P, thanks for the 2. Morj, how's life in hiding after the theory failed? After the raid failing theory failed? I mean, I think that... How do I say this? I think that the raid failing theory not being correct was definitely... in the moment, it was like a fairly big backlash, but... Right now, I don't think anybody cares. Unless people do care. I don't know. But for me, it's basically been all the same. Daniel Allen, thanks for the 5. Im has the human fruit model devil. The arrow that shoots Cobra was the devil tail. It all works with the fruit's matching personality. So that is one of the things I'm discussing in Tuesday's video. I have 2 things, potentially 3, based on some of the things that people talked about this stream. But the devil fruit, I think, like the devil fruit, I think does fit in many, many ways. There's basically like 3 things at this point that I feel could fit very well. Sith Lord, thanks for the 2. Dressrosa had Evil King 900 years ago. Don Quixote, Emu. Oh, you think that Emu came directly from the... Oh, shit, that'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. If Im's literally from the Don Quixote family and was one of the original rulers of that, that'd be cool. Cigar Verk, thanks for the 10. Lily made a grave mistake by joining 20 Kingdoms against Joy Boy. To rectify, she swapped by Ope Ope Fruit user with Zunisha to disperse Poneglyphs. May answer why no one knows what happened to Lily. So, you guys know that recently, I think, like, a few streams ago, like, 2 streams ago? Yeah, like, 2 streams ago or something like that? We discussed like Im's potential identity shit, and we literally went through what do you call the possibility of Lily being Zunisha. I'm pretty sure we discussed that. I do think that that's definitely a possibility. And I saw some good ideas for why it might be true, you know? Wait, someone claiming to be Oof is here? It's not the real Oof. There's no way. There's no way it's the real Oof. There's no way it's the real Oof. Come on now. There's no way. There's no way. Randall Hall 2, thanks for the 5. The scattering of the Poneglyphs feels very Dragon Ball Z-ish. We're making Wish scatters the Dragon Balls. I wonder if there's a connection. Great content, BTW. I did just write down a good theory I had. I legitimately, by the way, thanks for saying great content. I do think I've got a really good potential idea of what happened to the Poneglyphs and how they scattered. And what that could mean for the current story. You'll see that in the video shortly. Bassem El Madawi, thanks for the 5. I think Imu drew those forms for the Gorosei, mangaka fruit till the end. I think that this chapter confirmed my theory on what One Piece is. The mangaka fruit. I like that idea. I like that idea just because I like the Luffy Im contrast in that sense. I like the idea because it feels like the Gorosei are very much they've got NPC energy. You know what I mean? So for them to be mangaka, literally drawn figures, I think that would be very fitting. I'm not sold yet that that's what they are. Justin Holland, thanks for the 10. Crazy how these beasts fear Luffy, the new Joy Boy, and one of them is on their way to him at Egghead right now. Yeah, Saturn? Yeah. Again, I like a lot how what's happening in the outside world, and I said this earlier, what's happening in the outside world is making what's about to happen in Egghead more exciting, because we got the context now, right? Because we have the context, it makes the stakes of this fight that much more significant. We really want to see Saturn at this point, now that we know what he is. Fighting Big Mom may as well be a training battle for Luffy to be ready for what lies ahead. Fighting Big Mom. He never fought Big Mom. Fighting BM? BM? I don't know who this is. Bunfagum, thanks for the 7. Saturn and the Elders should not be stronger than Admirals given their past portrayal. All these dudes did was sit around and sweat. Alright, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick, and I'll answer that as soon as I get back. So, should the 5 Elders be strong? In my opinion, and don't mind me, I just gotta order something real quick. In my opinion, I think it would be cool if the 5 Elders are strong. I think that it seems like they're pretty strong as is, otherwise I think Sabo would have taken out one of them. I'm still not sold on them being Admiral level. But I think it could be one of those, like, more hidden surprises that guys without, like, that much portrayal end up being as strong as they are. You know what I mean? And I think that that's still a cool idea. So, we'll find out with the Egghead Island arc. You know, we're gonna find out a lot with this upcoming arc, with the actual upcoming battle. You know, at Egghead. So, yeah, let's just give it a second. I think in the next 20 chapters, we're going to get a lot of information. Although 20 chapters is a long time. 20 chapters is like... That's like till the end of the year. It's a long time. And... Alright, I think I'm good here. Bassem El Madawi, thanks for the 5. The theory is that the One Piece is the... Yeah, you were saying earlier about your theory about what the One Piece is. Make sure this goes through. The theory is that One Piece is the ancient kingdom's citizens arriving 800 years later with Toki's power. Luffy will save yet another kingdom. You think the One Piece is the ancient kingdom literally arriving in the future? That would be crazy. They'd be so fucking confused by like TV and Denden Mushis and shit. Actually, no, because the ancient kingdom was really advanced. So maybe they'll be confused about how everything went to shit. Maybe back then they had like way better stuff than TVs and Denden Mushi. Maybe they had internet and like video games, and they come to the current time and they're like, fuck, send us back, we don't like it here. That's an interesting theory. I've never heard that one before, that the ancient kingdom was sent forward in time, but that would line up with why so many prophecies and stuff are talking about like a specific time in the future that everyone's waiting on. Jacob Busky said, thanks for the 220. Luffy, Blackbeard, Shanks, Law, and Kid all beat a Gorosei. I think Luffy beating a Gorosei, maybe even at Egghead, is guaranteed. No, not guaranteed at Egghead. I don't know if Luffy beats... I feel like Zoro and Sanji beat... The tricky thing is how strong are the Gorosei supposed to be? Are they supposed to be the 5 most important? Or is it going to be God's Knights and then the Gorosei? Like, what's the deal with the Gorosei? How important are they supposed to be? We still don't know that. We still just don't know that. I'm not going to make any guesses yet about them until we see one of them fight. Mr. Armageddon, thanks for the 22. I am still rooting for Blackbeard as final villain. I just think that ship has sailed, man. And that's coming from someone who was once firmly in the Blackbeard is the final villain camp. You can go all the way back to my first time Blackbeard analysis that I made. I talked a lot towards the end about how I think that it makes the most sense for Blackbeard to be the final villain, just based on all of the ideas of the story. But at this point, I'm just like, it's hard to see it happening. That video was from like 5 years ago, so it doesn't hold up as well. It's still a good breakdown of his character, though. Just not the assumptions about what his story is headed towards. I think that Im will be the final villain, since you're asking who I think will be the final villain. You're saying, I think Sabo will take down Akainu. I personally think Luffy takes down Akainu. Maybe Dragon versus Imu, but Imu wins. I could definitely see that, since that's just one of those things, kind of like how a lot of us think that Shanks will fight Blackbeard, and Blackbeard will beat Shanks, and then Luffy beats Blackbeard. It's kind of how those things go. Blackbeard then beats Imu, and finally Luffy versus Blackbeard, who knows? Blackbeard beats Im, and then Luffy beats Blackbeard. I think that that is a good spin on it. Because that way it's like... It comes down, you know, Blackbeard is ultimately the final villain, and he even gets what he wants for a moment, which is, it seems like it's going to be his version of the dawn of a world, but then the fight comes down to who's really going to bring about the dawn. Is it Luffy or Blackbeard? And Luffy's like, no, we're not going to have that route. We're going to have this route instead. That's a tricky one, man, because that possibility, that final possibility of Blackbeard taking down Imu, and in that sense, it being the Blackbeard show even for a moment, I think that'd be really, really, really cool. I think that would flip a lot of things on their head. I think that's something that Blackbeard as a villain deserves, just based on our time and attachment to him as a character and the development of him as a character. But ultimately, I think it's more likely that Im is just the final villain, and what we see is what we get. Bunfagum, thanks for the 279. Morj, Zunisha existed before the Lily incident. Isn't Zunisha's... So, it's like Zunisha walked the earth for 1,000 years, right? That's what's said, right? But is that an exact time frame? Or is that something we actually know for certain? Or is that something that is a general statement? Like, 1,000 years Zunisha's been doing this. You know, once you get to like 700, 800 years, it's like 1,000, you know, rounding up. You know what I mean? But I get what you're saying. It's just, I don't know how tightly. I'm not saying Zunisha is Lily. I'm just like, I also don't know how tightly the time frame that's thrown out of 1,000 years is supposed to be exact. Zebrahim, thanks for the 5. A Netflix event is happening in a couple weeks with One Piece live action news. Okay. What are your thoughts on the One Piece live action, and are you excited for it? My excitement for the One Piece live action is, it's just very, very tentative. It's too tentative to even call it genuine excitement. It's just like, if this is good, then that's great. You know, if it's good, then in general that's a great thing, right? It doesn't have it doesn't have to be great. If it's good, decent, then it's basically that's a great thing for the One Piece fandom, One Piece, community, franchise, etc. It's it's just what it is, right? At the same time, I'm not gonna, like, how do I say this? I'm not gonna bank any sort of expectations on. I'm not banking anything on it being good. My expectations are basically on the ground right now for the One Piece live action. If it's good, then that's good. I mean, if it's good, then that's great, like I've been saying. But if it's bad, I'm just not gonna care. So that's a good thing, honestly, overall, because it's like, well, expectations are so low that it only has room to exceed expectations. So let's see. Lars Mango, thanks for the 279. Not wearing socks constitutes as menace behavior. I think it depends a lot on what culture you come from. Like, I think most Indians don't wear socks indoors. At least all Indians that I know. In India, you wear we call them chappal, right? But basically flip flops or sandals or whatever inside. But Indians in America, all Indians in America that I know, Indian Americans, you don't wear socks inside. Zane Blalok, thanks for the 2. Blackbeard takes out Im, steals their fruit, last villain. Blackbeard takes out Im, steals their fruit, last villain. Blackbeard takes out Im, steals their fruit, last villain. So we're going along those lines. That would be really, really cool if Im has some broken fruit, because we've been saying that Im has a Zoan, right? What's Blackbeard missing? He's missing a Zoan. So Blackbeard taking, that would be awesome. That would be really, really, really sick. That would be really sick. I still think it's more likely that Im is just the final villain, but the final zone that Blackbeard gets, if that's Im's zone, that'd be amazing. Brian Meets World, thanks for the 5. Likely Luffy and Blackbeard team up to fight Im in the end, so total opposite direction, because they're similar in views of freedom, then they fight it out with each other for Pirate King. That sounds a little too Naruto-esque for me. So you're saying Naruto and Sasuke fight Kaguya to save Konoha or whatever, and then at the end they fight each other to become Hokage? I hope it doesn't go down like that. Justin Holland, thanks for the 5. If Big Mom somehow comes back for one chance at revenge against Luffy, but he got strong enough to treat their match as just a training battle. Oh, okay, I get the clarification now. I'm just going to hope Big Mom doesn't come back. I think her and Kaido, they've run their course in the story, but I get what you're saying. Musi Lin S, thanks for the 5. What if Saturn and the rest are very strong, but also have fruits that make them seem invincible until they're figured out? I think that'd be fresh. Yeah, but I don't think that's One Piece's style exactly. I don't think that's One Piece's style. Usually it's more, it's not JoJo's, you know what I mean? The combat is generally more direct, head on. EM, thanks for the 2. Oh, let's get the stream likes to 500. Oh, people are debating socks versus barefoot. I mean, if I'm at other people's places, I keep my socks on. If I'm at my own place, I keep socks off. Yeah, it's one of those things like, does it make your feet cold? No, I think you're just used to it. I think you're just used to it, and then the flip side, in my opinion, like socks feel a little constricting. Like I don't think about it too much, you know. Just when in Rome, you do whatever, basically, right? So I really don't think about it. Socks are somewhat constricting. My argument would be socks make your feet hot. You know, um, that's pretty much it. Caleb Brown says, "Black, thanks for the two. Blackbeard wants to be a king to get to Reverie to get to Imu." Yeah, that does tie into that plotline really well because we know the Blackbeard wants to get to. Um, I had some different theory. I thought it was to get to the treasure of Marijua because it's classic Blackbeard shenanigans, right? It's like, why did he become a Shichibukai? He became a Shichibukai so that he could get access to Impel Down and get himself a good crew, right? So if he wants to now be a king, then that means that he's got some new agenda. He's trying to get to Marijua. He's trying to get into Marijua for some purpose, right? So we've seen this before with Blackbeard. If the world government falls for this, then they're dumb as fuck because it's like fool me fool me once, you know. Shame on you, etc. So if they get tricked by him again like this, they're kind of just stupid. JWP, thanks for the 5. Blackbeard knows too much. He knew immortality surgery, wants to build a kingdom. The darkness fruit that he waited for 30 years for it. I think he will oppose him. Yeah, Blackbeard will definitely oppose him. It's just like how successful will he be? Is him being set up to be defeated by and have his fruit stolen by Blackbeard, or is it more like Blackbeard will make some sort of an attempt, but ultimately Blackbeard loses to Luffy and then Luffy takes out him? Who knows? Let's get the Streamlex to 500. EM, thanks for the 5. What if Zunisha is actually Lily and she is forced to walk endlessly due to her releasing the Poneglyphs to the world? That's something that's been discussed multiple points of this stream at this point. So, I get that it's becoming a popular theory. We straight up put it down in the Im's identity stuff, like 2 streams back. That theory of Lily being Zunisha. I think it's a very valid theory. I think it could definitely be a valid theory. It's just like, what? How did she get turned into a fucking elephant, dude? Maybe she got swapped. You know, soul swapped or something like that. Brian Meets World, thanks for the 2. Blackbeard could know the last fruit he needs is Imu. Yeah. If he's just been holding out for Imu to get a final zone or something like that. Ow. It's annoying. Tiante Black says Zunisha has a male voice actor though. The anime doesn't know anything. It literally never knows anything. They don't know shit. They didn't know who the 1% man is. They don't know anything. You can't go by the anime. The anime had Zoro fucking cutting steel before he learned how to cut steel. The anime doesn't know anything. JS, thank you for the 10. If Egghead goes south and Saturn and Kizaru just straight up pack people up, how could that be made to appropriately set back the Straw Hats, or would them being made to lose / flee here always be pointless? How could it appropriately set back the Straw Hats, or would them being made to lose / flee here always be pointless? My take is basically like, if they lose, like wherever they lose, it kind of needs to be from there they make their big comeback, right? That's just how things sort of organically make sense, right? Like you lose to CP9 or whatever, and then from there you have your rallying cry, you get on the Rocket Man, you go to Enies Lobby and you kick their ass, right? You lose to Crocodile in the Desert, same thing, right? It's just generally the rhythm of the arc storytelling, right? Because it feels a little weird if they just lose and then they just go to Elbaf like nothing happened. Like, I would agree in that case, what's the point? That's partly why I don't think they necessarily lose here, but it would be... It's also just because it's just Saturn that's being sent over, so they lose to just Kizaru and Saturn. It's like, shouldn't they lose just like some... Like, shouldn't they lose to Imu or something like that at that point? Like something more, you know... If they lose to just Kizaru and Saturn, that'd be kind of nuts, wouldn't it? But I wouldn't be opposed to them losing, as long as it feels right in terms of what it sets up for the story tonally going out of that, you know? JWP, thanks for the 2. Do you think Cyan Leo is related to the Grand Fleet incident? So the way it was being phrased this chapter, it seems like that's being portrayed as a significant incident, but it just feels like a really weird significant incident to me, because it's like, isn't it? It's literally nothing new, right? Luffy's already in trouble for hitting a Celestial Dragon. He's been in trouble for that for 2 years now, right? They're already on his ass for hitting a Celestial Dragon. What difference would it make if Sai and Leo do it? You know, like, he's already there. I don't really get what difference that would make. Again, it's like Luffy burned the flag at Enies Lobby. He's already declared war. He is currently an enemy of the state, of the world government, right? If Sai or Leo burn a flag, what's the difference? Like, it would just be like Luffy burning another flag, right? Like, aren't we well past this? So I wouldn't be surprised if this is the incident, just because of the way it's being talked about, but it would feel a little weak to me after it just doesn't really make sense to me why it would trigger anything new, you know? Mr. MMF2, thank you. I swear to God, One Piece got the dumbest characters in media. Oh shit, like, why does Fuji still have a job? And why is Cobra surprised they were gonna kill him? Why was Cobra surprised they were gonna kill him? So, okay, here's my take on both those things. Why Fujitora still has a job is because, I would assume it's because, one, the admirals are such valuable assets, right? Like, you don't find admirals just lying around. Well, actually, you do. They kind of just found Fujitora and Rikogyu lying around. They ran out of some admirals, so they were like, fuck, we need some new ones, and they kind of just found some new ones. So, okay, maybe you can just find admirals lying around. But for the most part, they're supposed to be really rare, you know, in the One Piece world. And the admirals are kind of the crown jewels, the centerpieces of the primary military force that rules the entire One Piece world, right? They're the pillars of the military. So it would naturally take quite a bit for them to be removed from their positions, I imagine, right? Like, Garp was openly disobedient, I think, to the Celestial Dragons, and they kept him because of his strength and his reputation, right? I think what Fujitora's done so far, he's let some slaves go free, but it's like, okay, from the world government's perspective, losing a single admiral is basically a huge disruption to the balance of power and all of that, right? The Gorosei were even talking about what a big deal it was that Aokiji has left the Marines and has gone and joined Blackbeard. That's a huge threat to the balance of the world. Caveat is that I think that, so basically the point being that, in theory, Fujitora bending the rules here and there, like letting some slaves go, it's not such a big deal that it would be worth basically removing. Like, think of an admiral like a nuclear weapon in a world where the government only has 3 nuclear weapons. So it's like, do we want to get rid of one of our 3 nuclear weapons because they broke a rule here or there? I don't think that would be the case, right? The caveat here is, I feel like the more we're learning about the Gods Knights, the Gorosei potentially being very strong, it does make the admiral's value, as was initially pitched to us early in the series, as being these sort of irreplaceable, like, these 3 things are super duper fucking important, and like, if we lose one of them, then like the whole world's in trouble. Now it seems less and less to be the case. So I kind of get the complaint now. Oh, let's get the streamlights to 500. We're almost there. As for why was Cobra... But still, like, I think what I said before still stands as to why it would be okay for Fujitora to break some rules here or there. Now, as for why Cobra was surprised they were gonna kill him, I don't know how much to read into that in terms of like actual surprise versus like, I think that I think Cobra came into this, and maybe I'm projecting some stuff there that isn't quite established into the story, but it feels like it was enough to me. Cobra's at the end of his lifespan. He already knows he's going to die. So I think that's why this is the point that he's raising the question to the Gorosei as to what happened with all of this stuff, right? And he may not have known the full extent as to just how oppressive they would be willing to be, right? Like, he's one of the Nefertari family, right? Like, he's a very important, respected king, one of the original 20, in fact. So he must have known that he's asking a dangerous question. Maybe because he's close to the end of his life anyway, he felt like now is the time to risk it. But it's still surprising to hear that, yeah, you're definitely going to die, I think. My opinion. Titanium Dragon, thanks for the 5. The arrow that shot Cobra was coming from the side of the page, like Chainsaw Man uses panels in chapter 63 to 64. Okay, let me take a look at that again. You're saying that shows the mangaka fruit idea. Let me take a quick look. I wouldn't go that far, just because it's like the panels here are black, so it's not the same as like with Chainsaw Man. Like the panels are black and it's a black shadow that's attacking him, right? So sorry, the borders are black and it's a black shadow that's attacking him. So I don't think that there's any way to say or differentiate as to whether that's literally supposed to feel like the side of the manga panel coming out to attack him or what. I think if we had a white panel, like white borders, then this would feel more deliberate. You know what I mean? Super Sick 1, thanks for the 2. What if Robin told Crocodile the truth about Pluton? I think the big point of it was that she didn't, That's why Robin's ultimately a good person. She's not going to sell out the existence or the whereabouts of an ancient weapon to someone like Crocodile. She was using him. And that's why he got so mad and attacked her. Bassam El Madawi, thanks for the 2. What's going to happen to Alabasta? Did they revolt? We don't know yet. I don't know if the world government would just go after Alabasta just like that. I mean, they went after Lulusia Kingdom. We still need to see the logic behind why they wiped out Lulusia Kingdom. It seems almost random. Joseph 1209, thank you for the 10. Is Oda setting up Vivi times Luffy heading to the final, leading to the final saga? It's One Piece and Oda won't go there, especially with Luffy, but I think Cobra ships them, and I want my boy to get in by the end of the series. My take is that I think that Vivi times Sabo is potentially more likely, because the thing that I think Vivi times Sabo is very likely, potentially, because I personally literally never got a hint of romance at all between Luffy and Vivi back then. I mean, I personally didn't. I think the closest you can get is like Luffy caught her and carried her, I suppose, bridal style or whatever, when he's saving her from Crocodile. I think that's the closest it kind of gets as far as I can remember. But even then, I think that that's not a big deal. I feel like Vivi and Sabo, there could be something there, just because honestly, this is just based off of nothing, right? This is what am I even basing it off of? I guess just those two being like their fates kind of intertwining here. Sabo being there for Cobra's death and everything like that, them both being poised to play a big role, like with Sabo needs to pass on the message to Luffy, but also to Vivi, right? So we know that their paths have to intertwine again. We know that that's important. I feel like they're just being positioned as, Sabo's the revolutionary leader, but Vivi kind of like the voice that kingdoms can kind of listen to. I don't know. Jay, thanks for the 2. If Kizaru doesn't awaken on Egghead, will he ever? I like to think that we will get to see more details about admirals and Logia awakenings and such on Egghead, because Vegapunk already made a big deal of how mysterious and complex Logia fruits are. So I like to think that that's a possibility, but look, Kaido didn't fucking awaken, so at this point I'm not banking on awakenings for anyone. Lars Mango, thank you. What was Cobra's plan? Bro pulled up for Oda's exposition session and to protect Fraudy Bo. Respect to our homie. Who knew his durability was this OP? I don't know if Cobra had it. I think he literally just wanted answers to a question. Like, consider, like, if you're at the end of your life and it's just like you've got these burning questions and stuff, maybe you don't even have like a clear agenda because you don't know anything about what the fuck's going on. It's kind of like if I was elected into government or something like that, and I'm on my last few years of my life and I'm like, fuck it, I'm only going to be like a senator for a bit longer. I've always fucking wondered what goes on at Area 51. I pull up to Area 51, I'm like, can you guys tell me what's going on here? I just want to know. There's some suspicious shit, and they're like, well, we got to kill you now. It's like, fuck. That's what I thought. I don't know if there was necessarily a plan, because he doesn't know that there's like some bad guy ruling the entire world, right? He literally doesn't know that there's like a bad guy. Like, if I pull up to Area 51, I'm like, what's the deal? What's going on here? And then like this alien overlord shows up and like he sits down on a giant ass throne and he's like, I'm in charge and I've ruled the world forever. And then I'm like, well, fuck, I didn't have a plan for this. It's like, yeah, because how the fuck am I supposed to know? I'm just asking questions, man. Fabricio Chimpani, thank you. If we assume that Emu received the immortality surgery, it makes sense that Lily's soul has been switched. Stretching that theory, Emu could have Lily's body. It's just, the imagery of Luffy just punching Vivi as the finale of the story is kind of crazy to me. I don't know. I mean, like, he did punch her during their fight in the desert in Alabasta, but he wasn't like punching her. Like, he wasn't trying then, Matthew says, just Naruto run at the gates, they can't stop all of us. Yeah, you guys remember that effort to like raid Area 51? I was really, really fucking looking forward to that. I didn't sign up, but it was just like, it felt very defeating to me, because it's just like, it's one of those things where it's just like, this is something where I feel like we as a people were just like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's just like, look, we want to know. Like, you guys can't hide. If you guys have alien shit and stuff like that, you can't hide it from us. You are the government. You are our subordinates. You work for us. That is what a government is supposed to do, right? You are our subordinates. You are our employees, all right? We pay you. We pay your salary. You cannot hide this shit from us. That's at least my mentality. So it's kind of just sad to me where it's like, hey, if we all actually were like, we want to see what's behind this door, and their response is, well, we will just shoot you if you guys want to do that. And that was literally what their response is. We will just kill all of you if you guys actually want to check what's behind this door. And we're like, well, it was just a meme anyway, we'll drop it. Yeah, it was a meme. And everybody did drop it, and most people probably weren't going to do it. But it's also just like kind of a sobering reminder that at the end of the day, we literally can't do shit if it's decided that we are not allowed to see certain shit. You know what I mean? And I just think that is and obviously you can get very pedantic about it and be like, well, Morj, the way the government works and stuff, it would be irresponsible if like all government secrets were available for public information or something like that, and like there are things that need to be kept private for the important matters of like foreign affairs and things like that. And it's like, okay, yeah, but then the bounds that could be used to encompass certain things that we would not be okay with. You guys get what I'm saying? It's a played out conversation and everything like that. But that Area 51 thing, it does just stand out to me a little bit as being one of the most blatant things I can remember in American society, of just being like, and the fact that it was all played out as a joke is why, it's not talked about as much. But it's just one of those things that I remember in American society is just like, if we really want to just find out about something, like, are you guys hiding something from us? And we really want to know, and we are the people, we are allowed to know if we really want to find out. And their response is like, we can just kill you guys if you want to find out. And that's just the way it is. I think that's one of the few times that I really like that was just laid out very clearly for us. You know what I mean? See, that's what I'm saying. Hayden says Morj wants all classified docs unsealed. That's not what I'm saying either. It's just that nothing is that black and white. It's not like, oh, everybody should just have access to everything. That'd be chaos, etc. But at the same time, I'm just saying it is kind of sobering to know that at the end of the day, anything that is decided anything that is decided behind the scenes by certain forces, etc., is just decided, and we will be killed if we choose to take a peek behind and try and find out certain things. You know what? It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. And again, the Area 51 thing, as funny as it is as a joke, it's kind of just like the most clear-cut thing that I can personally remember of us like being like, we want to know this, and then being like, we will murder all of you if you try and find out, and there's nothing that you can do about it. It's like, fuck. I didn't vote for that. I would vote for somebody that lets us see what's in Area 51. Where's the option for that? Can we get some, what are those things? Can we get some super PACs and shit that vote for some people that, like, will let us see Area 51? Rat of Tosca says, it's a military base, LMAO, what the fuck, what? You're not getting the point, man. You're not getting the point. I've established multiple times that I understand why certain things can't be uncovered, right? But it's just a reminder that if we really pushed and if we really, really were like, we don't care if it's a military base, something is very, very, very important for the people to try and find out, then the people will be murdered for it. That's all I'm saying. And it's not like, is it fair for us to see what's in Area 51 or not? It probably isn't. It's a military base. I'm just saying that the way the world is set up for us right now is like, the line for whatever it is that we are or not allowed to see can be set pretty much wherever, and then as soon as we cross it, we basically die, which I think is kind of uncomfortable when you really think about it. But you know what? I don't need to say Area 51 that bad. I guess. If I'll literally die for it. Okay, how much do I want to go into... Well, okay. Opinion on Chainsaw Man is asking... Michael McCoy is asking opinion on the latest Chainsaw Man chapter. I didn't love aspects of the... Like, everything that happened in the last little mini arc, I suppose. I liked where it started. I didn't like where it kind of... I felt like the writing got too on the nose, and I think, I'll just say this, I think the diner menu thing got played out a little bit too much. I think two aspects, without giving any spoilers, right? Diner menu thing, I don't think is a big spoiler. I think that got played out a little too much, and then the other things, I think that the way they explored what Asa has been going through and Denji has been going through, etc., I think it was a little too, I don't think there was any subtlety to the writing there. I think it was kind of just too on the nose, right? It's literally... I could expand on it if I was doing a Chainsaw Man stream or a video or something like that. I really liked where it started out, and I really wanted to like this mini arc, but I don't think it was as good. Like, the character writing, I think, was a lot more heavy-handed than I think it was in earlier arcs of Chainsaw Man Part 2. So I didn't love that, but I love this recent chapter in terms of how it frames what the story of Chainsaw Man Part 2 is going to be about going forward. So I liked the recent chapter quite a bit, didn't necessarily like the recent mini arc all that much. Which is a surprising opinion, I know. Because a lot of people really like the recent mini arc. Maclore, thanks for the 5. Would you say that this chapter shows that the elders are strong themselves, or that Im's power is being used through them? I'm going to say for the moment that the elders are strong themselves, but I would not be surprised if their source of power is Im. And even if there may be puppets of Im or something like that. Hawkeye Fighter, thanks for the 5. Or no, not the 5. I don't even know what I'm reading here. Does Im know that Lily is a D? I didn't understand the starting part of the chapter. Can you please briefly explain why Im asked name of sender when he knew it's Lily? I think that Im is... I think some things are being done in the scene for extra dramatic effect, but I don't know if Im knew that Lily is a D. Let me read again. No, he definitely has an idea. He definitely knows, or almost 100% knows, sorry, that Lily's a D, and is pressuring Cobra to confirm it. Yeah, because just reading it again, his reaction to Cobra confirming that she's a D is when he's like, okay, I'm gonna kill you now. Aiden Klobuchar says Asa is such a great surprise of a character. Yeah, Asa is my favorite character of Chainsaw Man right now. Lars Mango says Cobra endangered Alabasta by rolling up. 0 IQ. Let's see if anything bad is actually happening at Alabasta at the moment. I would say that he didn't necessarily endanger it just because it is not if from their perspective they just killed off Cobra, who's the only one that knew or had the balls to talk to them about it, then maybe Alabasta as a kingdom is still fine. You know, but definitely not the oh shit, what did I just do? What did I just do? Whatever. What did I do? What is this? Yeah, definitely I'm at the end of my life, fuck this shit, that kind of moment. Daniel Allen, thanks for the 2. Thoughts on Pulp Fiction? That's my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. I'm sure it's a lot of people's favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. But I still feel like Pulp Fiction was... I mean, there's not really any movie quite like it, I think, even in recent times. And I still think that that's kind of him at his best. I feel like a lot of his newer movies are too self-indulgent, and I think they kind of ride off the name a little bit. Whereas Pulp Fiction, I feel like it really, really encapsulated like his style and just being able to enjoy a scene for how do I say this? Enjoy a scene for a scene without necessarily needing grander purpose, or like this sort of overarching deeper narrative or deeper development or something like that, even if there is, you know, some degree of ideas, themes, etc. there. But I think that a lot of his newer stuff, I think, is just too, like, he goes too hard on his own, like, too ham on his own tendencies. And I think that, yeah, I just use it as self-indulgent is the word that I'd use. Not that there's not movies of his that I don't still like post Pulp Fiction. But, yeah, someone mentioned Reservoir Dogs. Reservoir Dogs is my second favorite movie by him. Inglourious Bastards. I think Inglourious Bastards is actually... Inglourious Bastards, I would put... Let me see his filmography. I would probably put Inglourious Bastards above Reservoir Dogs. I take that back. Yeah, I would say Pulp Fiction I still think is best, but Inglourious Bastards I think is really, really, really good. I think that's phenomenal. Especially the opening scene. I just don't think it ends as strongly, but I think like there's individual scenes that are really strong from it. And Django I liked enough, fine enough. Yeah, Hateful Eight I didn't personally care for. Yeah, we're not gonna go too far down this rabbit hole. Super Sick 1, thanks for the 5. I know Robin wouldn't. I'm saying, what if a hypothetical situation, if she did, how would Crocodile deal with Kaido and getting Pluton from Wano? Crocodile, yeah, if Crocodile found out that that Pluton's in Wano, then does he just throw his hands up in the air and be like, well, I guess we call it a day then? I think that Crocodile would have to scheme a really, like, it's tricky because it's like, there's no feasible way for, he's kind of fucked. There's no feasible way for him to get Pluton, you know? There's no feasible way for him to get it. I mean, although to be fair, the best plan that Kaido had was throwing Jack, a Devil Fruit user, down there into the water, and just letting him sink like a rock, and then pulling him back out and be like, "Did you find Pluton?" No, I'm kidding. Obviously, Jack was probably not a Devil Fruit user at the time. Good Life, thanks for the 5. The raid on Area 51 succeeds. Nice. Morj makes Cobra face from this chapter, finding out he lives in a shadow oligarchy, which kills and slanders its opposition. Believe me, I would not be Cobra in that situation. I would not be Cobra. I'm not going out like that. I'm not stupid enough to just roll up on a wheelchair and be like, hey, what's going on here? All right. Joseph1209, thanks for the 10. Do you think sea stone or any other material can counter hockey? If so, it would make sense that the castle Pangea was made of, it, so no one can sense Im, but also explains why Im couldn't sense Sabo. I just don't think that I think Im didn't sense Sabo just because Im didn't turn on his observation hockey. There are a lot of other instances throughout One Piece of, like, even in recent arcs of Luffy not sensing people, Zoro not, like, characters not sensing other characters because you would assume that they just don't have observation hockey on. Like, the way I put it is, and I talked about this in the What Everyone Gets Wrong About Hockey video, the way I think about it is just, like, most characters aren't walking around using armament hockey 24/7. They're not walking around using Conqueror's hockey 24/7. Why do people think that they've got to be using observation hockey 24/7? Observation hockey would just make sense. You use it when it's time to use it, you know? Cigar Verk, thanks for the 10. I was confused why Roger Pirates were sure about the 20 years timeline. How did Joy Boy know about it 700 years ago? It seems like Joy Boy will be sending a Poneglyph to a particular time using Toki's Devil Fruit, which will have answers. Toki's Devil Fruit does open up a lot of possibilities. I don't know if it's sending a Poneglyph to a specific point in time, though. But that is an interesting theory that's been brought up this stream a lot. I think this chapter in particular launched a lot of really interesting theories, both on Im's abilities, Zunisha, Lily, Toki's Devil Fruit, the Time Fruit, because again, it's seeming more and more like things are heading towards a convergence point. So I don't know. I think you might be right. And I feel like the Time Fruit has to be important in some way at the end of everything, right? Lars Mango, thanks for the 3. Who will be in the top 5 end of story alive? Oh, shit. That's a difficult-ass question, man. That's really difficult because it's just like, is Dragon alive at the end of the story? I feel like Dragon survives. I feel like Shanks doesn't survive. It's like, is Blackbeard dead or is he just in prison? Or just like on some island defeated like most of Luffy's enemies? Are the Gorosei all strong? If so, are the Gorosei all dead? Are the God's Knights all strong? If so, are the God's Knights all dead? Is Im dead? I think it's really fucking hard to predict. It's like, does Kid come back into the story and suddenly Oda gives him a bunch of power-ups or something? I really can't predict who's the top 5 end of story. I can't even predict Luffy, because Luffy's probably the strongest character by the end of the story, but does the story end with him on a chopping block or something like that, you know? Good Life, thanks for the 2. Can't believe you thought Gorosei were 5 Joe Bidens. Don't know if I ever said that. Schmike the Melts, thanks for the 2. Love you, Morj. Sorry about your divorce. Get well soon. Thanks, I appreciate it. I feel like the Morj How's Your Child has stopped as much. Morj Happy Birthday has stopped as much. So Morj, congrats on the... Oh no, sorry about the divorce. I guess that's the new thing. You guys come up with the craziest shit. Tuna Sub, thanks for the 5. Off topic, but have you ever read Usogui? Ridiculously hyped gambling manga. I like the idea of gambling manga. You know what I used to read? I used to read fucking Gamblefish, which is maybe the stupidest manga of all time. But I loved it because I was young. But even though I was young, I could tell it was stupid. But it was just like the most it's the most absurd gambling manga of all time. It's like this middle school kid who like I can't explain Gamblefish to anybody. I can't explain it to anybody. It's too dumb. It would be shit like, literally, like, he'll chop off his arms or his fingers to win at, like, blackjack or something. And it's not even like real blackjack. Like, the dealer is a magician, so she's like rigging the whole game, and everybody knows that she's rigging the whole game. But he's like, well, I'm gonna find some super special gambling smarts to beat you despite you rigging the whole game. And so he like chops off his finger or some shit like that, or his arm or something like that. And that's just like the first arc, and it gets weirder from there, because by the end, like, he's sitting in an electric chair and the opponent's sitting in an electric chair, and there's not even any gambling skill involved anymore. They're both just like drawing royal flushes or something like that or like getting blackjack every single hand or something like that, just because they're both god tier gamblers. I don't know. I forget exactly what it was. Gamblefish is hilarious. Tiante Black says, y'all ever read Air Gear? I read like the beginning parts of Air Gear. Then it got weird. And I think Obama showed up in it. Actually, that's a commonality with... Wait, Ear Gear, Obama. Yeah, Obama shows up in Ear Gear. But here's the... No, his name is... I'm sorry. His name is... Let me show you guys. It's not Obama. It's actually, in Air Gear, they name him... It's John Omaha. It's John Omaha, but I don't know, call me crazy, but I think he's supposed to represent Obama. Because his slogan is literally, it's change. And I don't know. He's a womanizer in this for some reason. Why didn't I wear my tuxedo to meet such beautiful women like you tonight? I don't know why he's a womanizer here. He just is. But yeah, he makes it to Air Gear. But here's the crazy thing, all right? It's funny you mention Air Gear, because the other manga that I just talked about, Gamblefish, it also has Obama. I'm sorry, he's not John Omaha here. It's actually literally just Obama. Oh no, my bad. His name is King Omaha. King Omaha. So in Gamblefish, it's King Omaha. So I think the other... I don't know. He says, I'm king of the world. That's not accurate. He's just the president of the United States. But I don't know. He thinks he's a king, and not just of the United States, but of the entire planet. He won't let anybody in front of the king die in vain. I don't know. Anyway, so if you're confused as to what context he shows up in Gamblefish, it's to participate in an underground gambling tournament. Yeah. Spoilers, he loses. So on the one hand, you've got John Omaha. But on the other hand, you've got King Omaha. And then you've got the real world Barack Obama, and you've never seen any of these three men in the same room, so it really makes you think. Back to the supers, and we're gonna wrap this up so I can go eat food. But I'll check out Usagui. Thanks for putting me onto that. Schmike the Melts, thanks for the 2. Has the judge decided who gets custody of the kids? Yes, unfortunately I do. Cigar Verk, thanks for the 2. If you give me 1 million, I can reveal Im is Pinzoro. Ah, shit. I do want to find out. I would love to find out that Im is Pinzoro. I don't know if I can pony up 1 million to find that out. Guess I'll just never learn that Im is Pinzoro. Bunfagum, thanks for the 279. One night with Vasco or one night with Absalom? Yeah, I'm going to move on from here. Caleb, I'm really looking forward to ending stream. Caleb Brown, thanks for the 2. Gonna start Vinland or Chainsaw Man? Which do you recommend first? I will always recommend starting Chainsaw Man first, simply because it is a really, really fucking fast read. Like, Chainsaw Man is the fastest read of all time. If you read Chainsaw Man, how do I say this? If you start Chainsaw Man let's say you've got like a weekend with not much to do. If you start Chainsaw Man on Friday, you will be done by Sunday morning. Maybe Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening. It's a really fast read. Like, you could, it doesn't even have to be a weekend. You could probably read it over the course of a few weekdays or something like that. It is a really, really fast read. Chainsaw Man just flies by. Don't be fooled by, like, the 130 chapter count. The author is very, very minimalist with his use of panel space. It goes by really, really, really quick. It is a very fast-paced series. And Chainsaw Man is also one of those where you need to get past the beginning sections of it. I always say what season 1 of the anime covered is the least interesting section of Chainsaw Man. It's cool that it did as well as it did and was as successful as it was, but it is the least interesting section of all of Chainsaw Man. If you can get past that section of the anime, which I think is like the first 40-ish chapters or so, maybe 30, 40 chapters or so, and you can get to the meat of Chainsaw Man, which is like 50, 60, like really gets rolling like the further you go, right? Really, really ramps up. It feels like a roller coaster and you don't want to stop. It's just, it's a very, very, it really sucks you in and you just want to keep going because it's one of those mystery spirals that just keeps dragging you down at a very rapid pace. So I'll always recommend Chainsaw Man just because speed. Like, you can be done with Chainsaw Man right away, and then you can start Vinland Saga. It's the same as saying, like, hey, wait 4 days and then start Vinland Saga, basically, or wait 3 days and start Vinland Saga. Quint, thanks for the 2. Good luck with your date. Thanks, I appreciate that. The Real G Rise, thanks for the 2. You heard of the theory where D stands for dusk/dawn? Yeah. That's like an old ass thing. Have you seen my video like way back when, my analysis video talking about the dawn of the world? It goes deep into the idea of the dawn, and I kind of ended by talking about how I'm pretty sure that the D stands for dawn, and this is old shit. Joseph1209, and this is the last one I'm going to answer. Thanks for the 10. I feel like I'm never here for the live streams. Well, you're here today, man. But I missed the days where you'd be drinking heavy seas, and I was too poor to donate, so here you go for old time's sake. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that quite a bit. Thanks a lot. You don't need to send me drinking money, but that is appreciated. I will say that why don't I drink on streams anymore? I think the times that I used to drink I think I used to stream much more rarely. So it was like, sometimes it was just like a chill thing to do. Like, oh, I'm unwinding or something like that. Let me just stream, drink a beer at the same time. Nowadays, usually when I'm streaming, it's like it's part of my workday flow, right? Like after this, I'm gonna go do, I'm gonna eat, but I'm gonna finish up script. I'm gonna do chapter review. I'm gonna record the podcast for tomorrow. All of that stuff. So it's just less, in the flow of things. Also, I don't drink on weekdays unless I'm like, it's like a special thing, like a rare exception. Like maybe I'm out with my friends or something and we're at a bar or something like that. Then sure, maybe I'll get some drinks. But generally, I'm like, I'm not gonna drink on the weekdays. Just keep lifestyle choice, Loud Waffle says, Morj's Dawn video is still probably my favorite One Piece video. I feel like I wouldn't understand the series without it. Thank you very much for saying that, man. I do also think it is maybe the best, or one of the best analysis videos that I've ever done. So I'm very, very proud of that one. I would recommend going to check that one out, for sure. I feel like one of the crazy things that, like, and I know that it's self-complimentary to say, but I feel like that's a video that was talking about a ton of ideas that have become more commonly discussed in the One Piece community today, thematically, but it was talking about that years back, and I think in a lot of depth. So I think it's a video that holds up phenomenally well. And I swear, like, if you got a little bit of time today, tomorrow, whatever, I'd strongly recommend go watch that one, and just think about the time frame that was posted, how far back that was. Anyway, all right, guys. I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. This was a fun one. But yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate it, everybody. And yeah.